Hello everyone and welcome to the SMS-R Championship, brought to you by ESL, and this is round 6 and Road America. So you can see I fast forwarded a bit of time there. It was just a reminder of what you can do in qualifying. So I worked out in qualifying that the only way to get the extra lap in was to go instantly and not be held up, which is pretty impossible in a multi-class race. So I held back, gave myself a nice lovely clean track, and decided to go for a really fast lap with a bit of peace and quiet. And as you'll see in a second, when I fast forward this video, our first lap is going to be our pole lap. So I knew to begin with that one of the first laps is going to be the pole lap for qualifying. And I do get pole here, there's no doubt about it. I was absolutely flying. So coming into this first corner, I worked out, so in the past you may have seen me being in second gear at Road America in the McLaren. Third gear is actually slightly quicker, and it's where I was losing a tenth in the past. So I've worked that out now. I figured out the braking zone and my braking a little bit, adjusted it slightly, and I was nailing that corner pretty bang on. As we race down this straight, obviously there's going to be a lot of slipstream here in the race, so we've got to be careful of that. We're going to head towards this corner. The shadow on the right hand side is your braking marker. Brake down to second and then into first to get that turn in. Just missed the apex a little bit there, but we continue on with the lap, and our first sector is a 45.9, which is a bang on sector basically. You can get a 0.8 just, but you've got to be really bob on. A 0.9 is absolutely spot on here. Now you can do this corner flat, and I'll show you that in the race later on. I don't do it here. I just get a steady corner through there, steady speed. You know, it doesn't affect this lap too much, so I do continue on and we come around here. Now this one's a really tricky one. Now I used to just accelerate, let off and let it roll and come in. I actually now trail brake a little bit just in the middle of the corner. I use the camera on the right hand side as a reference to where I need to stop braking and to actually start accelerating. Through here is flat, very hard to do sometimes. As you see, I just run over the curb, never stay on that curb. You'll just it'll fling you right and straight into a barrier, as my teammate found out in ESL number 70, I think it was. So shout out to Bishop there. I've not raced with him for a little while because I'm on PC at the moment, obviously with this championship. So a 43.3 middle sector, another good sector. I think that was my best of the day, I think, but you can go slightly quicker. As I say, you can flat that other corner, so there is a 0.2, maybe even a 0.1 in there, not too sure, but even so we carry on up now, the start finish straight to end the lap, and we've already caught up to everybody else, so you can see there just waiting did help, and we get a 2 minute 4.6. You can see I'm surprised by that. There's a thing called ESL temps that we call it in GTA, and we always seem to go a slightly bit quicker in these races, and as you can see 2:04.6. Believe it or not, I do go faster than that in the race, but you'll see that in a second. So you can see that pole, Popsu in second, Vernox in third, Johan in fourth, Rossi in fifth. Now do take notice of the lights here. This is an interesting thing. I've never really noticed this, but it was mentioned here because it was more noticeable. Is that the green lights are slightly different for everybody. So some people can set off slightly earlier than others. I'm not sure what that's about, but even so I get ready to go. And if you look on the TV camera, some people have already gone, which causes a four-way on this really tight straight, and it causes a bit of a clash there. But even so, we carry on, we head towards the first corner. I've got a good start, there's nobody to my right, so I'm pretty happy with that. Going to the braking zone, Popsu gives me a little bit of a scare there, runs too deep into that corner, and Johan does get that place, I believe. There you go. So we're just hoping now to break that 1 second gap to Johan in second place, because that way they won't have slipstream to me, and I can just break away. So going on to the start finish straight, luckily I've got the LMPs right in front of me. I can use their slipstream. It's going to be no gain there for Johan as we head towards this this corner, and this is where it's going to get a little bit tight. So as we come down into here, I brake at my normal place. I know I can brake here, but the LMPs literally stop, and Okra goes to the right there, just causes me to veer off slightly there, just to make sure there's no contact. Obviously the LMPs are battling, so they've had to essentially stop because of the Constantina effect. I've just come in, not really taking that into account, because I wasn't expecting him to slow down so much, so I just had to veer off. No harm done. You know, Johan saw that I just ran a little bit wide to avoid that, left me a bit of room there, so we continue racing. You can see we're still with the LMPs. Now the LMPs are literally 10 seconds faster around here, because it's because there's long sweeping corners, really fast corners. The LMPs gap is like increased exponentially because of the downforce they've got. Now the next track is Watkins Glen, and I'm going to get onto that now actually. I'm not going to be at Watkins Glen because I'm racing, if you haven't seen it already, the Overclockers UK Racing Championship. racing real cars again. So I missed the next round, unfortunately, which means I can't win the championship. So I'm going for the most race wins. I can still get that in this championship. So that's my aim. But do make sure you watch this live stream of this championship, because honestly, Watkins Glen's a bit like here. Lots of sweeping corners. There's going to be a real big gap difference between the LMPs and the GT cars, and it could get quite dramatic. I just veered to the right here. Just jumping back to this race, you can see I'm 9/10, just bordering the 1 second window of slipstream. So at this point, I'm feeling fairly confident that I'm going to break this. Just have to get the next 2 corners right, and I feel I will pull away then at that point. So just come into here, nail this perfect through. There we go. Using all the curb there. If you go any further over, it could dart your left or right. And then into here, we just run a little bit wide there, just into that corner. But as we come into the straight, hit the curb nicely and continue on. And that gap is 1 second. We've broken it. We just need to go now and break the gap. So I'm going to show you some consistent lap times now. So we got a 2 minute 4.8 into a 2 minute 4.8 into a 2 minute 4.8. Look at that for consistency. Try that. That's in the championship race as well. Into a 2 minute 4.6. So we just matched our qualifying lap there. And then I always found that every time I did a quick lap, went into a slow lap. So 204.9 there. And then into another lap. So we're about to break it. A 2 minute 4.5 there. So we're beating our qualifying time. Into a 204.9, as I say. I don't know what that is. It must be to do with tyre pressures. Now, I'm on this lap now, and I'm trying to do the same thing. I'm pushing a little bit because I'm a bit bored. I want to go faster, faster, faster. I try and flat this a bit more. And I just lose the rear a bit there. So I'm just going to calm that down then for the rest of the race. And just to show you that lap time. So it's a 205.1. Bit gutted that I wasn't 204s, but even so. Continue on. Next lap, another 204.6. So you can see we're flying, we've got good consistent pace going, and then we're going to catch, well, the LMP is going to catch us right near the end of the race here. So there's only 7 minutes of the race left. It's essentially 3 laps, I think. No, 4 laps, sorry. As we come into the first corner, I'm now going to start paying more attention to my rear view mirror. Now, I'm not too worried here. I can let people go in certain places, lose a bit of time. I'm not too worried. I just want to win the race at this point, you know. So if anyone's lagging, I'll let them fly by and things like that, like I did at Catalonia. So first off, I'm trying to look who's in first and second. I can see TRL are absolutely dominating this. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to let them both by before the corner anyway. So Mangator gets a good slipstream. No point letting off there because that will cause a crash. I can see Michael's already coming by. I let off at that point because he's going to get that slipstream. We'll go through nicely. Continue on. It's quite funny in the TV camera. Michael's actually a Formula car there, but he's not really. So next up is somebody from SDL. I think it's Sonic. But it's nice and easy again. Yeah, I can just keep flat here. He can keep flat. We continue on. It can get tricky here. So as we come up to this section, this is probably the worst section an LMP car can catch a GT car because they're so much faster. As I say, sweeping corners, they have much bigger speed difference. So I'm not going to let off here. Through I go. And I think Storm, that's Storm. But Ralphie's going to catch me in the really wrong place here. Really wrong place. So I try and accelerate out really quickly as I can. Misjudge it slightly because I don't want to hold Ralphie up too much. But we'll continue on. As you can see, I've hardly lost any time there to Johan with the first 5 positions. So now I'm constantly look back. I'm trying to see who's next because obviously there's more drivers I trust than I don't trust. Well, there's some drivers I trust, some drivers I don't trust, and some drivers I'm not sure about. So I try and judge what I do based on that. So sometimes I will leave gaps, not leave gaps. Hold off, not hold off, because I don't want my race ruined, essentially. That's the main thing. I want to win this class. So I can see it's driver R1. I know driver R1's a really good driver. You know, we raced with him in season 1 in the same class. And I'm going to do exactly what I did with TRL here. I'm just going to let off and let him by. Just as we get close. So I see he moves out the way, I can let off at that point. Let him through. And then into this corner we go. So we don't lose any time. We'll lose a little bit, but letting off is fine. Now here I make a big mistake. I don't know why I did this at the time. Lack of concentration, I guess. But I really let off and let Kaki go. Loses me a ton of time there. At least a second, if not more than that. Not sure why I did that. Because I could have let Kaki through here. Mistake from me. I show you the positives of my driving. I show you the negatives. That was a negative there. So next up, I can see is Isaac straight away from his livery. I'm going to let Isaac go. As I say, I'm really good friends with Isaac in these races. We've had some cracking racing in the past. Catalonia in season 1 was a cracking one with Isaac. Andy Miller as well. Next is Scharf. Again, this is a horrible corner for an LMP car to catch GT car, so I just let him go there. That was my choice. It did cost me quite a bit of time that with Isaac and Scharf. You know, it cost me 2 seconds there. But again, as I say, I can manage this gap. So we can see we're back up to 5.5. Johan's battling with Popsu as well, so I keep going. Turn 1 with Michelle. This one's nice. I can just let off and just run slightly wide. You can run wide here. There's several lines you can take for this first corner, so it's nice and easy. You can just let him through. It doesn't hold us up that much at all. And next is a battle. Now, I definitely don't want to get involved with battles. I don't want to be the cause of somebody losing a position or anything like that. So, just as we did with TRL, Mangator and Magic Michael, obviously they were working as a team. It's a team championship for LMPs, so it doesn't matter who comes first or second there, as long as they get 1-2. I'm going to let off here for Tommy. I let off earlier just so that he knows, because the gap's further back, and I'm going to let the next person by as well. I'm just letting it run through. So that does lose me a bit of time, because obviously that's on a straight, and I let off for quite a while. But again, as I say, I don't want to get involved in any battles. And I could see on the map that there was no LMP car for quite a while, so I could build that gap back up. So it went down to 3.2. It's already back up to 4 seconds. We've got Flame Phoenix next. Again, I mentioned this before. It's a really bad place for any LMP car to catch a GT car, really. So that's fine there. I can just let off and let him through. And then that's basically it for the LMP cars. So in a second we'll accelerate towards the finish. As I say, pretty boring race. So I showed you the consistent laps, just showed you what I did there. I showed you my mistake with Kaki and the mistake where I was just pushing a bit too hard. That could have ended quite badly actually, pushing too hard. As you can see, we're in the last sector now, or the last lap. And we've built that gap up again as well with Johan. But obviously Johan's battling with Popsu. I believe there's a bit of contact on that corner perhaps with Johan and Popsu that we've just had. As you see, Popsu's just getting that position. But at this point, I don't care. I'm about to cross the line as the victor in GT3 once again. So we've won at Le Mans, we've won at Catalonia, and now we've won here at Road America. So thanks very much for watching. You can see I'm going to be extremely happy with that result. It's always happy to get a win. And you can see there my last lap was 2:04.7, so the pace was constantly there. But as I say, that's it for now. So make sure you tune in to the next one, which is this Saturday, the 22nd, I think it is. It starts at 4 PM British time, British summer time, so vary that as you will. I'll put the link in the description. There's another video there, or there's a playlist for the championship if you want to watch another race. As I say, one at Catalonia, you can watch that one. That one's quite an interesting one. Subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video if you like it. Dislike it if you dislike it. But if you do dislike it, please leave a comment to say why. But that's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video.